Alright guys, I figured I'd post a quick video. It's a follow-up to one I posted a couple of days ago. And I was running a second opinion call behind one of the big box companies, national brands. Guy, 10-year-old system, never had any issues with it. The company that was doing his maintenance and service for the last 7 years sold out to one of the large companies. All the employees are gone, new staff, new management, new ownership. The first time they come out to his house under this crowd, it's $6,000 worth of stuff that he needs. Evaporator coil, whole house air cleaner, indoor motor, outdoor motor, capacitors, contactors. He just thought that was odd because none of this had been mentioned in the past and he hasn't had any problems. He called us out for a second opinion. I went out, pretty much ruled out all those things, but I also diagnosed what I thought was a bad TXV, and I was wrong. And I called him first thing Monday morning, told him I wanted to go back and take a second look at it, basically do a second opinion on myself. One of the viewers commented on that video that I had my temperature clamps backwards, and I did. I went back and checked. My temperature clamps were backwards, suction line on the liquid line on the suction line. I had just put tape on them the day before to make it easier to look at them, so I don't have to find a little hole in the bottom that's red or blue, which one goes where. Instead of writing on them, I just put red tape and blue tape, and sure enough, the first time I use them, I put them on backwards, and I did that just to make it easier to identify them. So mistakes can happen, guys. I make them. I try not to, at least not something that simple, but the viewers sometimes can point you in the right direction, and it's up to you whether you want to follow up and go back and recheck that stuff. That's an individual decision you have to make, but he was right. I made a mistake, but I also found out something else while I was there about how these things work. And this was the second time I had this issue with them. You'll see it in the video. The little core depressor low loss fittings. You'll see that in the video. No refrigerant was added to this system, and the indoor blower works just fine. So with that said, not all the viewers that leave you comments are trolling. There's a lot of them that do, and because of that, sometimes you overlook the other ones that leave you comments. I read his, I went back, watched the video, he was right. So whoever that was, I don't remember, because I deleted you. I thought you were trolling me. And I'm not going to say I hadn't trolled a time or two. I think everybody will see somebody's videos sometimes, and you know, I've been bad about that in the past a little bit. Maybe this is karma coming back to get me, but I did at least call the guy back, went back out there and double checked, corrected my mistake, but also found out that the other company was also incorrect about that evaporator coil. So watch the video, guys. Alright guys, I wanted to post a real quick update. This is a unit I was at the other day, diagnosing a bad TXV. Let this be a lesson learned. I make mistakes, I'm not perfect, that's for sure. But I've got two issues that I've discovered. Number one was my fault. I had my low side and my high side temperature clamps in the wrong location. I had recently put the tape on here to make it easier to identify which one was which, so I don't have to keep looking down in that little hole right there to see if it's red or blue. I got that mixed up, and I'd put my low over here and my high over there. So that was giving me my superheat and subcooling being 32 subcool and 61 superheat. But if you notice, my pressures were about 70 psi on the low side. And I'll show you a quick clip of that real quick. 59 degree superheat. We've got almost a 33 degree subcooling, and we've got a TXV inside. Now I'm here today because I realized what I did. I think one of the commenters had said something about the temperature clamps being backwards. He was dead right on that. And plan today was to come back and recheck it, thinking I was going to have another issue with 70 degree superheat or 70 degree suction and 250, 260 head pressure. And now I was going to be looking for a refrigerant charge. But I've come back today and I've hooked up to it, and this is what, 4 days later. Now my pressures are 122.8 and 325 with a 12 degree superheat and a 7 degree subcool. So now, why is my suction pressure and my head pressure reading exactly normal? What I'm guessing is the difference is I don't have these hooked up today. This is the second time that's happened where I've took these low loss fittings and used them and hooked my gauges to them and then pressed it in to get the pressures, and they not come out accurate. I don't know if a vacuum gets created in here if you leave your gauges hooked up to them or not. I don't know, but I'm not going to use these anymore because I no longer trust them. This is the second time that I've used them as low loss fittings just for hooking up to the unit, and they've given me inaccurate pressure readings. So 2 issues resolved. Find another brand of these. I think these are the, I don't know if these are the JBs or the, I'm not sure. They're a lesser expensive set. I know Yellow Jacket makes a set. Maybe I'll try those, but I'm getting rid of these. I can't remember which brand these are. I got them off Amazon. They are sold at our local supplier. I just ordered them on Amazon because they were a little cheaper. But to follow up on the details of this video, this is the one where I was doing the second opinion. The other company came out and gave them a whole list of things that they needed, to include a new evaporator coil because they said it was low on charge and it was leaking. I have now confirmed that the refrigerant charge is perfectly fine in this thing, so they were wrong about that. Look at that right there. I don't know how well you can see it. We're running a 120, 322, 12 superheat, 7 subcool basically. It's about 80 degrees outside. So our temperature split the other day was accurate. I did check the restriction here. I think somebody said I said 70 and 77. I think when I said 70 here, I meant to say 7. I said 70, 70. But I'll hook that up right there. That liquid line is 94. And 94, if you look at that, we got 94 there. We got 94, 95, 94 right there. So there's not a restriction there. Now the other day I had 77 and 77, so something strange was going on. Maybe it wasn't these. I don't understand why I had low pressure. Because the other day I was running a 75 and a 255 roughly pressures. Now I'm running 121 and 322. I'm not sure why that is. If it was related to these not engaging properly, I don't know. But unless he's had somebody come back over the weekend and put refrigerant on it, which I don't think he has, because he called us Friday to come back and replace that TXV. Then I told him I wanted to come back this morning, which is Monday morning, and double check it before we did that, because I didn't want him doing a repair if it wasn't the correct one. So my mistake. I did have these reversed, and I believe this is going to be the reason my pressures were all screwy. Second time that's happened. So anyway guys, mistakes happen. You come back out, you do the right thing. So now he doesn't need an evaporator coil. The other company said he did. I thought it was a TXV. I was mistaken, but I have come back and made that right. So kind of goes back to it again. You get those big national companies, they come out and they try to run you up on your list of things you need to do to your system and get the cost of it high enough that you need to consider replacing it. And turns out really the only thing he's got is a pitted contactor and a weak capacitor on the blower motor. So and it wasn't that weak, it was 7.1 out of 7.5. But anyway, I've come back, rechecked it, feel better about it. Have no problem going in there and eating crow, letting this guy, hey, no, you're actually okay. You don't even need what I told you you needed. So he's in good shape. He's already signed up for our maintenance program, and we'll come out and get his furnace cleaned up sometime in November. Come back out, recheck this thing in April or May of next year, and hopefully everything continues to run fine. I'm gonna take a screenshot of this for him, and I'll attach that to his email for his invoice, and we'll hold that as a record. We'll see how it compares next year when we come back out. Anyway, guys, we all make mistakes. I make them. I'm not perfect, even though I try to be. I don't like making mistakes, but it happens. You just got to come back and make things right. And I feel a whole lot better coming back out here telling him that he doesn't need anything to be done, rather than telling him he needs a coil instead of a TXV. So be careful with the tools you use, the things you use. They will fail you sometimes. And biggest thing is always make sure your temperature clamps are on the right pipe, especially if you're checking superheat and subcooling, or you're going to be getting all kinds of screwy information. Anyway, guys, appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.